Hey, thanks for stopping by. My name is Tyler, and today I wanted to talk about my 5 tips to pass your N10-008 Network Plus exam on the first try. So, let's get into it, but before that, I do have a couple things to mention. First off, I have made, I hope, improvements to the audio quality in my videos. Rather than using the microphone from my phone, I am using it on the headset. So let me know how it sounds, drop a comment below, and if we like it, then I'll just keep doing videos this way. The second thing I wanted to mention was this video was for people that are in the same position I was about a year ago. Like, no IT knowledge, they've never worked on a help desk, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I hear a lot of advice from people about like the Network Plus being thrown around from a position where they might just assume you know things, and that's not the case for a lot of people. So this video is going to be more directed towards people that are at a fresh start. Maybe they're starting a new career, maybe they're getting their first big career job, they're getting their first IT job, which was why I got my Network Plus. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off, tip number 5, be patient. A lot of people will talk about getting their Network Plus in 1 week. Oh, I did it in 2 days. Oh, I did it in 2 weeks. Is it possible? Yes, it is. That kind of approach is less possible, obviously, for people kind of starting at that ground zero level, right where I was at. Because you don't, it's harder to learn because you haven't been around it. And second, more importantly, are you going to really understand the contents of that exam if all you do is cram practice tests for 2 weeks to get the certification? Don't get me wrong, certifications are awesome. However, remember, the point of them is to learn something, and I don't think just straight lining to the exam is a great option, especially if this is your first certification and you're brand new to the industry, because things like the Network Plus are kind of your foundation. You want to understand them, even if it is just a lot of memorizing port numbers and cable types and just general super broad concepts. It's absolutely important to still understand those moving into, I guess, higher level exams. Tip number 2, get a book. Now, I have always liked textbooks for exams. I know a lot of times people will just do it without. However, from my perspective, I think books generally go a bit more in depth, which of course is awesome. And almost more importantly than even that, what I found, at least in my scenario, is they really helped build study habits and turn it into a habit. I won't go off on the full building habits tangent, but I will say when I graduated high school, I didn't know how to pick up a book. Like, I just did not study for things in high school. Having to learn to force yourself to sit down and like read a book, because it's obviously, it can be a little less exciting than videos. I think that's awesome. If for you this is a foundational exam, like this is your first one, you're just trying to get a foot in the door in the IT industry, learning how to sit down and study and make it a part of your day is huge. Like, this exam can take you 4 months to get. That doesn't matter nearly as much as if you learned how to study during it, because in IT you don't just get one certification, obviously. So learning how to study and build that habit early on is super important. But that's all for tip 2, is I recommend getting a book, not only to start building some great study habits, but also to kind of get some of the specifics down, because sometimes video courses just don't cover all of it. Tip number 3, on the topic of video courses, let's talk about some study materials that aren't books that are super helpful. Now, for video courses, I highly recommend Professor Messer's stuff. It's free, and every single thing he teaches in his video series is in the exam objectives, which with CompTIA, you will not be tested on anything outside of the exam objectives ever. His course is just very focused, which I love. 100% recommend it. Also, I would recommend kind of forking over the $30 to get the audio-only versions of his videos. They're just MP3 files of this video course. The reason I say that is because you can listen to it when you're doing other things. You can do that with the Network Plus. The exam and exam topics kind of cater to allowing for that type of study, and I love it. That was always so fun for me when I would go out detailing and I would just have these classes playing and playing and playing for so many hours every single week. It doesn't mean I was fully paying attention to the classes, but I was getting the content run through my mind for so many hours, and I think that was a huge part of learning the material for me, because if I didn't understand DHCP, I could put that MP3 file on repeat and listen to this video until I understood what DHCP was. So I recommend getting those audio-only courses, and then on whatever mundane thing you're doing during the day, maybe you're cutting the grass, or maybe you're washing your own car, or you're just doing something for a few hours, you can have headphones on. Absolutely. Just put the courses on. Obviously try to actively listen to them, but you don't need to be like laser focused on listening to the course while you're doing this other task. It's okay to just have it as background noise. Speaking of which, I am actually going out to detail a car here in about an hour, and I will be listening to the Cloud Security podcast on Spotify. I recommend that one as too. It's not really laser focused into the Solutions Architect exam, but it kind of builds a holistic picture of cloud security for me, which I really enjoy. It talks about all sorts of kind of big umbrella topics. Anyway, that's probably a tangent for another day as well. You guys know I like to ramble, so I'll stop myself. And that brings us to tip number 4. And for this tip, I wanted to say, don't underestimate this exam. Don't let people tell you that, oh, it's an easy exam, you study for it for a week, there's nothing to it. Because there is. It's maybe if you went and got, for someone that got their CCNA and they have all these certifications, maybe the Network Plus is like that, but they're forgetting that everybody starts somewhere. And I don't think it's beneficial to start believing those people and start saying, oh, well, maybe it is, and I'll just study for a couple weeks and go past the exam, because that will likely lead in failure. And there's nothing more crushing than failing a certification exam, and that's just not a fun foot to start your entry into IT on. I don't think that's a good plan. So I would say don't underestimate the exam. Remember, it is a certification exam, so it's not like crazy easy. It does take a lot of hard work to earn that certification. Remember, the book is about yay thick. There's a lot of content in that exam that you have to know. So don't underestimate it. Don't let other people convince you that it's the easiest exam in the world and that you don't have to worry about it and you can just be super low-key and say, I'm going to show up one day and pass it, because unfortunately, I don't think that will be the case. Maybe you're smarter than me, but I know I have to do like crazy amounts of overkill for all of my studying, or I will fail these exams. It's the way I have to do it. So yes, that's all I have for the 4th tip, which is don't underestimate the exam. So, moving on to our last tip. I don't remember if I was going in ascending order or descending, so 5 or 1. Last tip, doesn't really matter. So, the last tip is to do some final checks before the exams. And the final check I recommend doing is taking every single exam topic, all of them, all like 600 and something of them, there's a lot, and typing out not only the exam objective, typing out a definition for it. And you're probably thinking, that's going to take me weeks to get done. And that's okay. I think it's awesome to do that, because it forces you to look at every single exam objective and ask yourself, do you understand it? So I did talk about that in another video I have about the Network Plus as well, kind of what I did, because that's one of the things that I did that, like, man, it really highlights the things that you might need to work on. And that's kind of the point of the exercise. You have to now go out of your way to either rewatch a video, read a chapter in a book, or find the answer on the Google machine. That's all I had for you guys for this video. I just wanted to kind of give my 5 Network Plus exam tips. I do think they're a little bit unique just because the position I'm in, which is like just brand new. I'm not expecting anyone to know anything for this. And I'm also a lot of those tips were about preparing yourself for kind of the IT industry, which is, you're always learning something, so not a better time to learn how to learn than on your first certification exam. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or your own exam tips, drop them below. I always love reading them. I've seen so much interaction in the comments on some of my videos, and it just makes me so happy. So drop a comment. I will make sure to respond to you. Other than that, you guys have a great rest of your day, and thank you for stopping by.